as we are all here to make a positive change in the communities we serve and thus aid nation building. Implementing the POSH Act, the provisions of the POSH Act is a mandate of the law and a statutory requirements for all types of organizations, including NGOs. Let us now get into the slides and learn a bit more. Welcome, everyone. Next slide, please. Okay, the first slide shows different pictures of women. What can anyone guess? What does it mean? Well, it means that this act is applicable to women of all criteria, all status, all positions, right from tribals to communities to maidservants and to the most powerful woman in the world. The picture in the center, Ursula von der Leyen, who is a UN Secretary General, and with our PM, Mr. Modi. So this act is applicable and is for all the women across the nation. Next, please. Decades and maybe centuries back before this act came in presence, Swami Vivekananda once said, there is no chance for women, welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. It is not possible for a bird to fly only on one wing. He was drawing attention to the fact that about 1/2 of the mankind is suffering from prejudice, discrimination, and oppression in a male-dominated society. And to know some of the crimes that we are witnessing and have witnessed in the past in India are, for the women specifically, it's from pre-birth to elderly. At the level of pre-birth, we have sex-selective abortions, battering during pregnancy, coerced pregnancy. When the girl child is in her infant, there is female infanticide, emotional and physical abuse, differential access to food and medical care. When the child enters girlhood, there is child marriage, genital mutilation, sexual harassment, abuse by family members and strangers, differential access to food, medical care, and education. Adolescence period, violence during courtship, economically coerced sex, sexual abuse in the workplace, rape, sexual harassment, arranged marriage, trafficking, etc. Reproductive age, physical, psychological, sexual abuse by intimate male partners and relatives, forced pregnancy by partners, sexual abuse in the workplace, sexual harassment, rape, abuse of widows, including property grabbing, and sexual cleansing practices. And not to mention the violence during the elderly age of a woman, abuse of widows, including property grabbing. That's very common. Accusations of witchcraft in the villages, in rural areas, we often witness such things. Physical and psychological violence by younger family members, differential access to food and medical care. All these are already being witnessed by us since we are an NGO and we work at the ground level. To curb some of these crimes, in India, we have some women-specific registrations. These registrations are women-specific. The Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act 1956, Dowry Prohibition Act, Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act, Commission of Sati Prevention Act 1987, Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, National Commission of Women Act 1990, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013, the Criminal Law Amendment 2013, the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act 2019. So these are some of the women-specific registrations. The Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act we call sweetly as the POSH Act. And today's subject is on the POSH Act. The next is women-related registrations. These are comprehensive registrations, but Section 498A, 304B, 376 in the IPC are related to women. We also have the Indian Evidence Act 1872 and the Code of Criminal Procedure Section 125 to 128, which are women related. Now, IPC has been changed, renamed to a new name, which we will be seeing very often in the coming days. Now, sexual harassment cases. If you see the news or the social media or the history, you will find ample such cases which have been either solved or remained unsolved and forgotten. Here we are going to discuss two highly social impact, high profile cases. One that which was in 1988, well before the act came in, the 2000 POSH Act came into existence. The case of Mrs. Rupan Diol Bajaj, who was an IAS officer, and versus Kanwar Palgil, who was an IPS. The respondent, we must remember two words while we are discussing POSH Act. We do not use the word accused. We call the complainant and the person against whom the complaint is filed as respondent. So the respondent in this case was Kanwar Palgil, and the complainant was Mrs. Rupan Bajaj, who was an IAS working as a special secretary in the finance department at that point in time. Now, the respondent's background says he was a super cop. He was DGP of Punjab in two terms. He was speaker on counterterrorism, and a Padma Shri award in 1989 civil services. But he was in 1988. He was convicted under Section 354 and 509 by 3 months of rigorous imprisonment, 2 months of ordinary imprisonment, and a fine of rupees 2 lakhs. After appeal, conviction was reduced to probation. He expired due to heart attack in May 2017. What did he do? Well, he patted. There was a party in one of the places in New Delhi, and the respondent and the complainant were together at the party. The respondent allegedly patted the back of the complainant in the party, and the respondent made sure that he is taken to task. It was not for the monetary benefit or the media presence, but he wanted to know that justice is met in this case. At the end of the entire trial, the entire case, the Supreme Court had ordered the amount, that is 2 lakhs at that point in time, which the complainant did not accept and requested the SC to donate it to a women's NGO. In this case, we learned that cases of any nature should not be neglected or said, okay, chalta hai, ho jayega, jaane do, maaf kiya. They were two very high profile, they were both in high profile positions, but yet the law superseded all these positions, and the thing was, met. The justice was met. We have a second case, a high profile case concerning Justice Ashok Kumar Ganguly, who is now a retired judge of the Supreme Court. It also happened that during the tenure of his job, there was a law intern who was working with him, and in one of the occasions, he tried to molest her, and then there was all these cases happened, and then later on, justice was given a clean sheet by the Home Ministry due to lack of evidence at that stage. So these cases tell us that we need to be very careful. We need to gather evidences whenever such cases are to be brought to the notice of the authorities. The next picture we see is of a lady, and she is to be called the founder of the POSH Act. She is none other than Banwari Devi. Most of us must have heard about her name, and you can also Google her facts. She is Banwari Devi. The POSH Act 2013, the Vishaka guidelines all came in existence because of her case. The case says in 1992, if you Google out Vishaka and others versus State of Rajasthan 1997. In 1992, Banwari Devi, who was working as a Satin, as a health worker in the state of Rajasthan, paid by the government, the health department of the local Gram Panchayat at that point in time, was carrying on her duty as a health worker. Accordingly, she also carried on the work of stopping child marriages in Rajasthan. And once she tried to stop a child marriage of a 9-month-old baby, a daughter of Ramkaran Gujjar, who was supposed to be from a higher class, the milkman category of people, higher class, and Banwari Devi is considered as people from the lower class. Now, at that point in time, when they did not listen, once the next day they went to, when Banwari Devi and her husband were working in the field, 5 men from those class of people raped Banwari Devi. They tied up the husband to a nearby tree and they raped Banwari Devi. And the cases went on from district courts to session courts, then to the Supreme Court. Now, still now, the case is pending. Many of the accused, 5 of the accused had already expired, but her case is still pending. During the pendency of the case, there were some social workers on field under the platform called Vishaka, who petitioned the SC to form a set of guidelines to tackle such cases during the workplace. And accordingly, a collective platform, Vishaka, against the state of Rajasthan, resulting in Vishaka guidelines. Vishaka guidelines were initiated by the Honorable Supreme Court before the POSH Act. Next, please. Here is a picture. Next, please. Next. 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 Yes. Here is a picture. Banwari Devi is standing at the same place where she was raped in 1992. All right. Next. You can see the Vishaka team. They are chalking out the guidelines. This is how NGOs at that time were working in the field. By the Vishaka guidelines, the Supreme Court in 1997 established that sexual harassment violates a woman's right in the workplace and is thus not just a matter of personal injury. Next, please. Supreme Court. Next. Next. Yeah. Supreme Court acknowledged that sexual harassment is a human rights violation. It's a violation of constitutionally guaranteed fundamental rights, basically Article 14, Article 15, Article 21, 19(1)(g). This act supersedes the Vishaka guidelines, which means now we do not need to follow the Vishaka guidelines. We need to follow mandatorily the provisions of the POSH Act. This act extends to the whole of India. It is only for the protection of women at a workplace. It is not a gender neutral act. So this women specific registration, it is supportive of the women. This is one of the act that does not have any punitive action or punishments, a strict punishment by the law. Okay, there is some time issue, hence we are going a little faster. Okay, so this act, the preamble of this act is no women shall be subject to sexual harassment at workplace, section 3(1) of the act. Well, then this act came into existence on 23rd April 2013. It's almost 10 years, but we often see in the field when we are working that not many of the organizations, whether non-profit or for-profit, are practicing this act or implementing the provisions of the act on a letter and spirit basis. Most of the committees that are there are either illegal, malfunctioned, or are not in order, which is not good at all in the eyes of law. Well, every offense under this act is non-cognizable. Next. Objectives, please. Yes, objectives. Next. 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 Yes. So, yes, that's it. One before, please. Back. One slide back. Okay. So, this objective of this act is protection against sexual harassment of women at workplace, prevention, redressal of complaints on sexual harassment at workplace. मतलब है कि हमें एक तो पहले प्रोटेक्शन देनी है, हमारे जो वुमेन स्टाफ है, वुमेन एम्प्लॉयज है, वुमेन डोनर्स होंगे या वॉलंटियर्स होंगे, जो भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. Second is we have to prevent such crimes in the organization. And again, अगर prevention भी नहीं होता है, protection भी नहीं होते हैं, then there is a chance for redressal within the organization. You do not need to go to a court for redressing your grievances under POSH Act. Of course, you can go to the court and the police station in other sections of the law, but under the POSH Act, the first primary step is to redress the complaints in the organization itself. Now, sexual harassment is considered a violation of fundamental right of a woman to equality as guaranteed under Article 14 and 15 of the Constitution of India, and her right to live, to life and to live with dignity as per Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Sexual harassment relies upon the feelings, unwelcome feeling of the complainant or aggrieved woman in the act. The main crux of this act is आप feeling कैसे होते हो, कहीं पे sexual harassment होते हैं if the aggrieved woman or the complainant is feeling having a unwelcome feeling कि मुझे ये पसंद नहीं है, then that is the main crux of the complaint where it is to be tackled by the POSH Act. The provision of this act shall be in addition to, not derogation of the provision of any other law for the time being in force. This is not only one act, इसके साथ में बहुत सारे acts, बहुत सारे sections जुड़े जाते हैं. Next, please. So, our beloved POSH Act, which is called the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. Everyone present here must download this act and read it at your time and your space. Everything is very detailed, clearly mentioned here for a layperson to understand. There are 8 chapters and 30 sections, and each of these 30 sections are to be abided and implemented by the organization and the other stakeholders that is prescribed in this act. ठीक है, अभी हम सेक्सुअल हेरेसमेंट के बारे में बहुत बात कर ली. Now, what is sexual harassment? We may have our own explanations, we may have our own thinking, our own interpretations of sexual harassments, but act में जो है, there are 5 such explanations given. हमारे जितने भी होंगे, हजारों में भी अगर interpretations है, we have to fit all those things into these 5 and take the case to a logical and legal end. The first, A, physical contact and advances. Physical contact या advances अगर workplace में होता है तो that is considered as sexual harassment under section 2N of the act. B, a demand or sexual favors, a demand or a request for sexual favors. All of you must be understanding all these little simple things. C, making sexually colored remarks to on a woman, or showing pornography, or E, unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. कोई भी conduct भी होता है, they are not saying but conduct होगा, हमें लगता है कुछ ऐसे advances कर रहे, ऐसे कुछ वो इशारा दे रहे, that is also considered under the POSH Act, is under the sexual harassment definition of section 2N. It is a legal term basically derived from the EEOC. किसी को अगर notes नहीं लिखने हो रहा है तो they can take a screenshot, is easy. All right. Now section 3.2 sexual harassment is further elaborated as implied or explicit promise of preferential treatment in her employment. मतलब क्या, आप ये कर दो जल्दी जल्दी तो हम आपको ये करेंगे, या फिर आपको ये चाहिए, ये आपको बेनिफिट्स चाहिए तो मुझे खुश करना होगा, या जो भी मैं कहूंगा उसको अवॉइड करना होगा. Implied or explicit threat of detrimental treatment in her employment. Detrimental treatment ऐसे कुछ circumstances बना देंगे जिससे the woman employee will face a threat to her life or to the working space that she is already working in the organization. Implied or explicit threat about her present or future employment. मतलब अगर तूने ऐसे नहीं किया या आपने ऐसे नहीं किया तो आप आगे इस पोजीशन पे जा नहीं पाओगे, या फिर आगे आपकी सैलरी हाइक नहीं होगी, या बोनसेस नहीं मिलेंगे, and so on and so forth. Interference with her work or creating and intimating an offensive or hostile work environment for her. कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाते हैं कि hostile work environment हो जाता है. The woman is working at her desk or at her place, and then a group of people coming around her and cracking jokes, sometimes taking her name indirectly, or the circumstances she has been earlier, वो सब उसमें रह के उनको एक अलग सा environment बना देता है, which is turning hostile for the woman to work under such environment. Then fifth is humiliating treatment likely to affect her health. कभी humiliate कर देता है, ये आपने काम अच्छा नहीं किया, वो ऐसे नहीं किया, ऐसे करती तो वैसा हो जाता, that impacts her life, her mental health and life as well. Displaying of offensive pictures, postcards, MMS, SMS, WhatsApp, Insta, FB, ASF, offensive hostile environment, humiliating treatment affecting our health, promise for preferential treatment, offensive comments or jokes, inappropriate questions suggesting a person's sex life are not to be discussed in the workplace with an employee or with a co-worker. Next, please. The ingredients. Abhi POSH Act के अंदर there will only be POSH or sexual harassment cases ही इसमें entertain होते हैं. We do not entertain domestic violence cases under POSH Act. We do not entertain any other related to labor laws का related जो भी cases होंगे is not entertained under POSH Act. Okay, so every complaint must have the following ingredients. जैसे कि हम चिकन खाते हैं तो उसके अंदर चिकन होना जरूरी है, तो वैसे ही इसके अंदर भी 3 main components होना जरूरी है. First, the complaint should mention that there has been a sexual violation, sexual in nature. मतलब वो complaints should be sexual in nature. Second should be must be unwelcome. The complainant should write in the complaint that she is feeling unwelcomed. She is not feeling happy with this, with the kind of behavior meted out to her by the respondent or the person whom she is complaining against. And third, most important is the case should be, the event should be taking place in the workplace, not at home. Okay, not at home, out of the workplace or work hours. तो workplace के अंदर होना चाहिए, sexual in nature होना चाहिए, and must be unwelcome. While tackling POSH cases, we must ensure the impact, not the intent. मतलब इन्होंने क्या किया है उस चीज से इनके ऊपर और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट गिरने वाला है. We have to see the impact of the harasser or the impact of the respondent. इनके ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट गिर रहा है वो हमें देखना जरूरी है. Now, what is the sum of the things that I just listed out? Unwelcome means feels bad. If somebody says something or touches or something, we feel bad. So that is unwelcome. One-sided रहता है, feels powerless रहता है, power-based रहता है, unwanted रहता है. कभी we know that these things are illegal. It's not to be done. Invading the privacy, demeaning मतलब नीचे दिखाना, causes anger. इनका आसपास रहना मुझे गुस्सा दिलाता है क्योंकि उनका behavior उन्होंने वैसे किया थे उस समय में. We feel sad or cause negative self-esteem. All these things अगर रहते हैं इंसान के अंदर, फिर भी वो काम करता है, then उसके अंदर काम में बहुत सारे difficulties आएंगे, low esteem आएंगे, and lowest output होगा, leading to sitting at home. The company will not know, the organization will not know what you are suffering from. Hence, if anything happens, all this होता है आपके अंदर वहां से काम करने से, please report it to the internal committee of your organization. Causes of sexual harassment. क्यों लोग sexual harass करते हैं? First है sex discrimination. Second, socialization. कि जैसे इंसान बोलते हैं ना, जैसे बनवारी देवी केस में हो गए, men are to be the highest order. They are into the superior position in every position of life. अभी भी modern world में भी ऐसे ही होते हैं. Then we have the power game, socially impact. I am affiliated to so and so political party, so nothing can be done. The law cannot do anything. Committee cannot do anything. So I am my own king and all that, है ना? तो power game होते हैं. Then we have aggressions. हम तो इंसान है. हम इंसान means men है. Women are from the lowest strata. So the men always wins and so on. Moral values, divorce, cultural differences, victim blaming, partiality, extramarital affairs. ये सब components जो है different components है वो aid करता है ऐसे behavior लाने के लिए एक इंसान में. Now sexual harassment जो हमने already POSH Act के तहत 2N के तहत हमने बताया आपको, they can be categorized into 4 main groups. Verbal, they can be visual, they can be written, or they can be physical. मतलब verbal मतलब बोल के कुछ बातें कर सकते हैं, visual कुछ दिखा सकते हैं, that could be anything, any picture, any graffiti, anything, even working from home जो background पीछे रहता है. अभी मेरे background में certificate से maybe some other backgrounds will have some kind of explicit pictures, so that is also considered as sexual harassment. Then written में या physical advances. Now these were some of the sexual harassment. Now we'll study about workplace. Workplace में क्या क्या आता है? Private sector organization with every department. Sports institute, stadium, training school institutions आ जाते हैं. Government owned control establishments आ जाते हैं. Hospitals, nursing homes, NGOs आ जाते हैं. Vocational education institutions आ जाते हैं. Or dwelling places in case of a domestic worker. Now, extended places of work आता है. Arising out of or during course of employment including transportation by employer. अभी आपके company अगर आपको pick up drop देते हैं, then the time, the moment you move out of the company premises, the organization premises to your home is also considered as your workplace. So if you are into that traveling में है और कुछ हो जाता है, you can complain to the IC of your organization. अगर आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कहीं पे पिकनिक भेजता है, एक्सकर्शन भेजता है, कॉन्फ्रेंस में भेजते हैं, and it is by the company itself, then that also comes under the workplace. You can complain. If you are working from home, yes, 9 to 5 job है आपका, 9 to 6 job है, 9 to 6 job में अगर कुछ भी होता है, that also comes in workplace. Although you are sitting at your home, but you are working in the during the work hours. अभी हमें एम्प्लॉयर समझना है कि एम्प्लॉयर किसको बोला जाता है. एम्प्लॉयर मीन्स द हेड ऑफ द company or the organization. In NGO sector, we have board of trustees, managing trustees, then we have CEO, and then we have different department heads. All of those can be into the employer. And ये सब employers का obligation से, क्या obligation से हम आगे देखेंगे. Section 19, 4 and 22 इनके ऊपर mandates है कि सेफ वर्किंग एनवायरनमेंट लगाना है. आईसी डिटेल्स आपके वर्क प्लेसेस पे जो नोटिस बोर्ड होते हैं वहां पे लगाना जरूरी है. वर्कशॉप्स कंडक्ट करना जरूरी है. अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स एट रेगुलर इंटरवल्स कंडक्ट करना जरूरी है रिगार्डिंग ऑन द एम्प्लॉइज एंड द आईसी मेंबर्स. प्रोवाइड नेसेसरी फैसिलिटी टू द आईसी. आईसी इज इंटरनल कमिटी. असिस्ट इन सिक्योरिंग अटेंडेंस ऑफ रेस्पोंडेंट फ्रॉम बिफोर आईसी. मेकिंग अवेलेबल ऑल इंफॉर्मेशन टू आईसी रिलेटेड टू केस. Provide assistance to aggrieved women. Aggrieved women means the complainant. If she chooses to file case under IPC, अगर उनको police station में IPC का case करना है, then the company has, the employer has to assist her into that. Treat sexual harassment as misconduct. Monitor timely submission of report to district officer. DO is district officer. Constitution of internal complaints committee, which is now called internal committee, in writing at every location. Mention the number of cases filed and disposed of under Sexual Harassment Act in the organization's annual report. आपके जो annual reports होंगे उसमें भी आपको sexual harassment के details लिखना जरूरी है. And then formulation of anti-sexual harassment policy. Although this policy is not mandated by the act, but it is good practice to have a policy in place, just as we have a child protection policy and all those things in compliance to POSH Act. We can also have an anti-sexual harassment policy in compliance to POSH Act in the organization. Non-compliance, अगर आप नहीं करते हो, if you do not have an internal committee in your organization, what happens? Section 26, failure to constitute an IC under Section 1 or Section 4, take action under 13, 14, 22, or contravenes the Act. Rupees 50,000, penalty up to 25 lakhs. And this is not a joke. ये हो चुका है, बहुत सारे केसेस हुए हैं. Many of the corporate including hospitals have been awarded such penalties and they had to pay. Section 26 में आप देखो, twice the penalty of the first offense, 50,000 or up to 5 lakhs to every officer of the company, or imprisonment of 3 years or both. Every officer of the company means that person has to pay from his own pocket. Okay, that person, if I am a managing trustee of my organization and I don't have IC, anything happens, या कहीं पे scrutiny हो जाता है, कहीं पे कुछ flying squad आ जाती है WCD से, तो फिर हम पता चलता है कि हमारे पास नहीं है, then I am liable to pay the penalty. Then if I continue this offense, ऐसे चलता है, ठीक है, पैसे तो भर देंगे और क्या होगा, बाद में second time, third time में cancellation of the license that we are working under, registration, withdrawal या non-renewal. If you have a school and you are affiliated to some universities, वो affiliations वगैरह सब cancel हो सकती है. अगर आप कहीं पे कुछ registered के अंदर हो, तो वो सब registrations cancel हो सकती है. Okay. Recent cases are Sri Lankan Airlines, Medanta Hospital, Novosoft companies, 1.68 crores fine उन्होंने भरे है by the Madras High Court. Cases go up to the High Court and the Supreme Court as well. Okay. Now let us discuss about the employee. Employee मतलब क्या? In the NGO sector, mostly we deal with volunteers, donors, and staff or interns, either paid or unpaid. यहाँ पे लिखा है कि with or without remuneration or voluntary. That means all the volunteers that are working with our organizations come under POSH Act, and hence POSH implementation of internal committee in the NGO is mandatory, but not for all the NGO. It is only for NGOs or organizations that have 10 or more employees or volunteers working with it. उनके लिए ये mandatory है. Now, sexual harassment cases handle करने के लिए 3 different mechanisms है. One is called internal committee, which is under section 4 of the Act, that is at the institution level. इसके ऊपर रहता है लोकल कमिटी एट द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल अंडर सेक्शन 6 ऑफ द एक्ट, और नीचे रहता है चीफ बॉक्स, दैट इज एन ऑनलाइन कंप्लेंट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. अगर ये दोनों नहीं है तो द एग्रीव्ड पर्सन और द कंप्लेनेंट कैन लॉग इन ऑनलाइन एंड कंप्लेन ऑनलाइन टू द पोर्टल. लेकिन वो पोर्टल में एक क्लॉज है जहां पे लिखा है कि वेदर द कंपनी दैट यू आर वर्किंग विथ हैज अ आईसी और नॉट. इफ शी मेंशन्स नो, then chances are that your company is another radar of scrutiny. Okay. Purpose of the constituting the internal committee. Abhi har ek organization having 10 or more employees or volunteers are supposed to and required to constitute an internal committee to redress the grievance of women employees, to send a clear signal to all the employees that sexual harassment is viewed seriously in the company, and it serves as preventive and punitive action or civil या criminal court of law. तो आईसी गठित करना बहुत जरूरी है. अभी आईसी में कितने मेंबर्स होंगे? As per the act, there has to be 4. One is called a presiding officer, second is called a 2-member team, and the third is an external NGO member. कोई भी employer presiding officer नहीं होना है. The managing trustee cannot be the presiding officer. Okay, it has to be a staff, a senior most woman employee, not a male. Senior most woman employee having, अब यह seniority कैसे आप count करोगे? That is typically 3 years or more in the service of the organization is called presiding officer. Second 2 members of the women. Second 2 member भी women होना जरूरी है, लेकिन उनको कोई ना कोई social background से होगा तो अच्छा है. And the third person, 4th person is external NGO member. That person should not be a beneficiary or a partner of your organization. Should not be into CSR और ये वो, और उसी कंपनी में आप IC में हो, नहीं चलता है ना? Sorry. The NGO member can be a male or a female. The tenure of the committee is 3 years. That means every 3 years you have to change the committee. You can keep the same people, but documentation जो है, formalities जो है, वो आपको 3-3 साल में करना ही पड़ता है, जैसे हम लोग ट्रस्ट डीड का करते हैं. ट्रस्टीज में चेंज नहीं होता है, फिर भी हमें चेंज रिपोर्ट तो फाइल करना ही पड़ता है. So that is the same thing here. Okay. Next, structure of the IC, I already said. Presiding officer, यहाँ पे चेयरमैन वगैरह कोई नहीं होता. I have seen many IC putting up chairman, chairperson, chairwoman. नहीं, ये सब चीजें नहीं है वहाँ पे. It is presiding officer or PO. Second is 2 employee members, and the third is external NGO member. ठीक है. External NGO member का कैसे आप करोगे कि आप minimum देखोगे कि 5 years social work का experience है. Social work means not photography और Facebook और Instagram के लिए, but actual social work उन्होंने किया है with a credible NGO, not politically backed NGO या फिर नाम या certificates ऐसे ही जो off merit पे लाते हैं, वो सब आप देख लो. क्योंकि if anything happens, your company, your organization, or you, if you are the managing trustee, are going to face problems. Okay. If you are having an member from the NGO, देखो कि वो NGO active है ना, MPT Act, SRA Act से registered है, they are not blacklisted and all these kind of things. Now IC में जो 4 member है, 4 member में से पहले के 3 member तो आपके कंपनी से है, आपके organization से है. They will not be paid extra. That is included in the salary that you are already offering to them. But The external NGO member has to be paid separately. उनका 200 रुपया या 300 रुपये कुछ है per day per hearing. अगर वो attend करता है meeting तो you have to pay extra plus the transportation cost. If he is coming, if there is a case, he has to come for 90 days. तो ये सब आपको उतना payment उनको करना जरूरी है. Key responsibility of the IC, मतलब you have to be very active, you have to be updated, क्योंकि laws and sections and judgments change every day, every now and then. So whenever there is a new judgment, you have to download it, keep it for your study to help you in your cases. ठीक है. Now, what is the power of IC? The power of IC as per section 11(3) is the code of civil procedure. मतलब सिविल कोर्ट का जो फर्स्ट क्लास मैजिस्ट्रेट का जो पावर होता है वो पावर है इंटरनल कमेटी को. There are 3 powers inside that: summoning and enforcing attendance of person and examining on oath, recovery, discovery of production of documents under the Evidence Act and any other which may be prescribed. Attendance जरूरी है. Next 27 में no cognizance of offenses, मतलब कोई भी कोर्ट में ये फर्स्ट केस जाता नहीं है. If there is a woman who wants to go to court first or a police station, they have to come first to the IC and then come first to the IC, register a complaint there, and after the IC recommends, जो भी IC order करेगा उसको लेके आप अपील पे जा सकते हो या उसको सपोर्टेड आप कहीं और जा सकते हो. Okay, now complaints की है. क्या क्या complaint में क्या क्या stages होते हैं? First is the woman gives a written complaint. There should not be any verbal complaint. Verbal has no evidence. ठीक है? There has to be a written complaint and a written event. The event should not be more than 3 months. बहुत पुराने जो होंगे या Me Too experiences होंगे वो सब is not included in POSH Act. ठीक है? तो latest episode of the event should be 3 months. 3 महीने तक last date of the event should be 3 months. 3 महीने के आसपास कुछ हुआ रहेगा, so you can complain and entire story आप उस पे लिख सकते हो. अगर आप लिख नहीं सकते हो, then the IC member will write on her behalf and take the signature and keep it on record for the investigation procedure. तो first है complaint written में लेना है. Then first meeting होगी between the IC members और read करेंगे उसको पूरा. I have already mentioned all these details, but time नहीं है ज़्यादा, इसके लिए I will not go in detail. वो सब चेक करेंगे, स्क्रूटिनी करेंगे. जो मैंने इंग्रेडिएंट्स बोले थे पहले, वो इंग्रेडिएंट्स उसमें है कि नहीं देखेंगे. एंड देन उसको क्या करेंगे? देयर इज अ प्रोसीजर कॉल कंप्लेंट रिड्रेसल. के समय में कंप्लेंट आने के बाद में फर्स्ट मीटिंग आईसी मेंबर्स का होगा. उसके बाद में रीड करने के बाद में कंप्लेनेंट को बुलाया जाएगा और उनको बोलेंगे कि आपको एक प्रोविजन है कंसिलिएशन करना है. ये देखो, ये जो आपने आरोप लिखा है ये इतना स्ट्रिक्ट नहीं है, इतने अच्छे, मतलब नॉट सो ग्रीवियस. इफ यू वांट टू रिकंसाइल, कंसिलिएशन करना है, आप कर सकते हो. मतलब सॉरी बोल के छोड़ देना है या फिर कहीं ना कहीं उनको जो भी चाहिए वो. बट दे शुड नॉट बी एनी मॉनिटरी कि मुझे 50 लाख दे दो तो मैं रिकंसाइल करूंगी और केस क्लोज करूंगी. ये सब नहीं है. मॉनिटरी बेनिफिट शुड नॉट बी पार्ट ऑफ द कंसिलिएशन प्रोसेस. नाउ इफ द वुमन सेज ओके ठीक है, सॉरी बोल दिया ना उसने, ठीक है सॉरी रिटर्न दे दिया ना, बस हो गया, आई एम हैप्पी, close the case at that point in time. But if she says no, I want an inquiry procedure, then inquiry procedure शुरू हो जाता है. इंक्वायरी प्रोसीजर में क्या रहता है कि हम 7 दिन के अंदर कंप्लेंट के कॉपी रेस्पोंडेंट को भेजते हैं. रेस्पोंडेंट मींस द पर्सन अगेंस्ट whom the complainant has complained.
Sir, you are on mute.
Hello, yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you now, Dr. John.
Okay. मीटिंग्स होते हैं, उनको लेटर्स जाते हैं, सामने वाले को लेटर जाते हैं, हियरिंग होती है विद द कंप्लेनेंट, रेस्पोंडेंट, आईसी. और फिर ये सब जो आपके इंक्वायरी प्रोसेस है as per section 911 of the act should be completed within a specific time frame of 90 days. मतलब 3 महीने के अंदर आपको ये केस इंक्वायरी प्रोसीजर क्लोज करना जरूरी है. इंक्वायरी होने के बाद में within 10 days you have to write the recommendation to the employer, because the ultimate action कौन रहेगा? Employer रहेगा. Okay. The IC does not judge. It only investigates the case. जो भी है उनके कंप्लेंट्स प्रोसीजर है, जो भी पनिशमेंट है 1 2 3 4 वो सब रिकमेंडेशन करके एम्प्लॉयर को देगा. Then the employer has to check the details कि हाँ ये केसेस जेन्युइन है और ऐसे ऐसे ये हम कर सकते हैं, इनको यहाँ से ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं, इनको काम से निकाल सकते हैं, and so on and so forth. And then employer has to send a written note to the IC saying that yes, we have received so and so thing, and then we are going to follow so and so implementation. Employer has to report back to the internal committee. Okay. Now, during the pendency of the 90-day period, matlab 3 mahina, if the woman feels that I am not safe in the place, in the workplace, the respondent may attack me or come near me and so on, may hamper the investigation, she can ask for interim benefit, that is leave. This leave for 3 months can be given to her by the company or organization in addition to the already leave that is being sanctioned to her as per the labor laws or the company laws. ठीक है. उसके बाद में inquiry report होने के बाद में I've already discussed all this. See, most of these facts are technically done. They could not be into the webinar. So if anyone wants to have a detailed webinar session on this, they can always contact me and I will go to their venue and explain to them all the details. ठीक है. Then yes, हो गई है. Compensations भी होते हैं इसमें. Action by management I've already completed. Punishment for false complaint. Now if somebody is giving a false complaint, some lady is giving a false complaint, क्या होगा उसमें? तो जितने भी चीजें उनके ऊपर हुई है जो आरोपी पे हुए या रेस्पोंडेंट पे हुए, वो same thing can be turned on to the complainant. Okay. Now there is a question very क्या बोलते हैं, very common question, can an advocate or a legal practitioner come into IC? The answer is no, a big no, क्योंकि legal practitioner cannot be a part of the internal committee just because he or she knows a legal language. Okay, but the IC can take an assistance from a legal practitioner कि अभी हमारे पास ऐसे केस आए हैं, इसके steps क्या है, and so on and so forth. The payment of the legal practitioner, the fees will be borne by the company. So IC में IC के अंदर legal practitioner नहीं होगा, but IC or the respondent or the complainant can take क्या बोलते हैं, services from the legal practitioner. Okay. So ये सब होने के बाद में all the proceedings of this POSH Act, जो भी proceeding है केस का, is highly strictly confidential and it is not within the purview of RTI 2015, not to be reported anywhere. कहीं पे भी report नहीं करना है. Even the such cases in court of law are also kept in camera, means they are not in the open court. Now, Section 22 mandates annual report to district officer. Now, who is a district officer? District officer can be a district magistrate in your locality or a district collector or a deputy district collector. अभी हम मुंबई में है तो we have collectors, थाने में है तो collectors है, बाकी कहीं पे होगा तो district magistrate होगा. Like in Arunachal, Tawang area, there they have district magistrate. So district magistrate is nominated as district officer. So आपका जो report होगा, report will be in calendar year. POSH Act follows calendar year, that is from January to December. So January 2023 to December 23 तक एक साल हुआ है और एक साल के अंदर क्या क्या हुआ है वो आपको रिपोर्ट करना है up to 31st January 2024. So you have another 6 to 7 days more to report for the last year. उसके contents क्या रहता है? Number of sexual harassment cases filed in a year. If it is 0, just write 0. If it is 1, write 1. Number of complaints disposed of. अगर कंप्लेंट आया एक तो डिस्पोज ऑफ अगर 90 डेज के अंदर हुआ तो 1 लिखोगे. अगर नहीं हुआ, सपोज नवंबर में हुई है और हमारा टाइम लिमिट है जनवरी तक, सो इट इज नॉट डिस्पोज ऑफ, इट इज अंडर प्रोसेस, सो यू राइट 0. नंबर ऑफ कंप्लेंट्स पेंडिंग फॉर रेजोल्यूशन मोर देन 90 डेज, उसमें आप वो नंबर लिख सकते हो 1. नंबर ऑफ वर्कशॉप्स अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स कंडक्टेड बाय द एम्प्लॉयर. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आपको वर्कशॉप्स कंडक्ट करना, अवेयरनेस सेशंस फिजिकली कंडक्ट करना बहुत जरूरी है. Every year, you should have 4 quarterly meetings of the IC. If there is no cases, turn those meetings into your training centers, training sessions. तो उसी में आपका 4 sessions हो जाते हैं. And then 1 annual session for the general employees. तो ये सब should be documented. There should be minutes book, stamps. ये सब जो रहता है हर एक चीज होना चाहिए. Nature of action taken by the employer भी और एक provision है, वहां पे भी आप 0 लिख सकते हो if there is no such complaints. The next slide is about the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India online portal है. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे ऑनलाइन कर सकते हैं लोग. अभी वे फॉरवर्ड, अभी हमने ब्रीफली पता चल गया हमें कि पॉश एक्ट क्या है, क्या क्या मैंडेट्स है. वे फॉरवर्ड में हम क्या कर सकते हैं अभी आगे जाके. एक तो हमें ड्राफ्टिंग एंड अडॉप्टिंग जेंडर न्यूट्रल पॉलिसी या फिर वुमेन स्पेसिफिक पॉलिसी रखो, बट इट इज नॉट सपोर्टेड बाय द एक्ट. It is not mandatory, but second onwards, everything is mandatory of the act. Issuing of office order to constitute IC. Office order कौन issue करेगा? An employer. Employer could be managing trustee or the CEO. वो first office order आपके letterhead पे stamp पे order issue करेगा कि as in compliance to so and so act, we are constituting an internal complaints committee. फिर Indian complaints committee, legally complaint committee आप उसको formulate करोगे. And then after that you do the KYC of your members, मतलब पैन आधार ये वो सब ले लो आप. उसके बाद में पूरा डिटेल फोटो वोटो लेके अब उनके फाइल बना लो. And then you send the information to the district officer. You can also email it to WCD. WCD is Women and Child Development Office in Mumbai or Thane. Every municipal corporation has a department. You can go and submit it there. Then appointment letter to external NGO member. You have to give an appointment letter to external NGO member. डिस्प्ले ऑफ आईसी. एक बार आपका आईसी बन गया तो आपको आईसी का डिटेल जो 4-5 मेंबर्स के हैं वो डिटेल्स आपके वेबसाइट पे और आपके नोटिस बोर्ड पे, जहां पे लोग आते हैं देखते हैं, बाहर वाले आते हैं, रिसेप्शन एरिया और वर्क एरिया और कैफेटेरिया वेरेवर, जो एरिया है वहां पे आपको वो ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंस में भी आपको डिस्प्ले करना जरूरी है. एलोकेशन ऑफ सेपरेट स्टेशनरी, रजिस्टर, मिनिट्स बुक, स्टैम्प्स, फाइल्स, ये सब आपको लगता है. क्वार्टरली आईसी मीटिंग्स इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एसएच केस नहीं है छोड़ दो, नहीं, 3-3 महीने में आपको मिनिट्स बुक में एंट्री जरूरी है, क्योंकि कभी भी कोई भी आके आपका ये सब चीजें स्क्रूटिनी के लिए लेके जा सकते हैं WCD डिपार्टमेंट में से या कहीं से भी. सो यू हैव टू बी familiar, just as we get ready for the audit every time, this is also a kind of audit and is a mandate of law, so you have to be very careful. Quarterly IC meeting, recording of MOM. MOM में मीटिंग में हमेशा 4 मेंबर में से 3 मेंबर मैंडेटरी है, प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर मैंडेटरी है, एक्सटर्नल एनजीओ मेंबर मैंडेटरी है. ठीक है. देन कंडक्टिंग हियरिंग्स ऑफ एसएच केसेस, हियरिंग्स करना है 90 डेज का. कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग ट्रेनिंग फॉर आईसी मेंबर्स क्वार्टरली. Annual awareness session for employees. Annual awareness session मतलब not before the 8 March. Many of the companies I see, they are decorating their premises with balloons and festives. बस women empowerment कर रहे. No, that is not women empowerment, that is celebration. Women empowerment अगर आपको सही में करना है तो you make sure that women are safe in your environment, in your workplaces and all those who are associated with you. ठीक है. Then submission of annual report mandatory है. If you do not submit annual report, also is considered as non-consideration of IC. You may be eligible for the penalty and all the actions by the government. ठीक है. Registration of IC in DO office, I already told you. And after every 3 years, you have to reconstitute the IC. Okay. Sometimes there may be surprise visits by the Maharashtra State Women Commission. So you must be careful. Okay. So with this, I have already completed. One thing I need to explain to IC members is, please do not indulge in moral policing. उस लड़की ने पार्टी में ऐसे ड्रेस पहने थे, इसके लिए ये तो होना ही था. No, that is not. We are not a moral policing. We are part of a quasi judicial body. Let our mentality be a little judicial in nature, for which we need to study a bit of certifications in law and all the laws, and specifically if we are into the IC, let us see that we give prompt and proper time-bound justice to the women, because we know in Indian courts of law there are thousands and lakhs of cases pending, and even a small case or cases of under POSH Act takes years and years to come to the table of the judge. just like Banwari Devi 92 का case 2024 में भी नहीं हुआ है. It is well into our own hands that how we tackle such cases and how we are compliant to the act. So thank you very much. I have taken 5 minutes in excess to what I was allotted. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much, Dr. John, for the brief, detailed discussion about the POSH Act. I'm sure there were a lot of things that, our audience, our participants came to know about it today. Before we end the session, we can spend around 10 minutes in Q&A. So I can see one question from Dignity Foundation. So yeah, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good evening, Dr. John. So,
Good evening, sir.
yeah, good evening, sir. So, I would like to, understand one thing. So, I heard what all includes in workplace and everything. So, there was a case study basically, and junior employee, she was called, for the movie theater to watch movie, and then there she was sexually harassed, or being asked for the sexual favors for the promotion and all. So yes, as an organization we did consider that as a workplace. So what is your view on it? So should it be workplace, or it should be not considered as a workplace because it was out of the work hours?
Okay, was a movie show during the work hours of the workplace?
No, it was after the work hours.
After work hours, वो personal level पे है.
So will not consider it as a
That lady can discuss it with the IC team of your organization or a legal practitioner and take the matter forward through the police station.
Okay. So it won't be an under our this thing.
Absolutely not, because the movie, the event was not sponsored or not a part of the workplace.
Okay.
वो तो काम के बाद में था ना.
Correct. And the other question I had was, you said managing director cannot be, presiding officer. So can it be other trustees?
No. Trustees are the employers.
Okay.
First of all,
Correct.
trustees are unpaid people. Okay. Secondly, they are the employers. They have the decision whether to throw out a people or induct a people, है ना?
Sure.
So,
And
उनके नीचे का लेवल जो होगा, जो आपके एम्प्लॉई होगा, मे बी अ टीचर और ए कोऑर्डिनेटर और ए सीईओ और जो भी आपके होंगे, that person will be the employer and should be the head of the as a IC, presiding officer of the IC. But the office order has to be issued by the trustee.
Sure. And for the IC, do we have to inform this apna DO office that whoever is IC committee, that will be
Earlier there was
yearly?
no such provision earlier, but last after COVID, they have come up with an email address also of Mumbai. Where are you located?
Mumbai, Vaikala.
Mumbai, okay. So in Mumbai they have a Department of Women and Child, WCD email. You can also email to them or visit their office at Fort and BKC and submit it, under acknowledgement.
Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you for your lovely session.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead with next question, that is from Subramanya Siva. So
yes, Good evening to all. It's a very vast subject which Mr. John has covered within a short time.
Yes,
so many things, and as he was rushing, we could understand. And now my question is, I think I have put it while registering also. What's the role of this local committee? You have not explained about that much, because you have made it as a IC for NGO. But we are all doing as part of ICs in many other institutions. As NGO representative, I am in two IC committees of two universities. So we deal cases and all, but we are much worried about the non-formal employees who are to be covered by the local committee at the district level. But I am from Tamil Nadu. As far as I know, in none of the districts in Tamil Nadu, the LC is formed in the proper way as told in the POSH Act.
Yes, sir.
Senior government officer is the presiding officer of the IC, MC there. So what time she will have to inquire if a complaint comes from a village lady?
Okay.
So it's all
So
just for namesake they have kept it. No complaint is received. So how to improve that system?
huh. So the one thing is this internal committee is applicable only to organizations that are having 10 or more employees or volunteers. But the informal sector or the Chinese wala or anyone, the tea wala, जो भी है restaurants है या maid servants group है, all these come under informal sector, means they are below 10 working members. So
Yes.
all these categories will be handled by the local committee, complaints committee or local committee, which is constituted as under district level, and
Yes.
is in base, should be based in the collector's office or the district magistrate's office. Unfortunately, even in Maharashtra, in Mumbai area, the government or those departments just do not follow any of those rules, just do not know about the pros and cons of such things. So even municipal corporations, the local governing bodies, they do not have an IC as yet. They do not function. They do not have any of such provisions of law. But the only thing is that maybe we can, practice all this, and then we can tell them कि देखो हमारे पास है, आप भी करो. Or you can, if any one of you is well versed with POSH Act, you can go and tell them कि हम committee बिठा के देंगे आपको. I will be the external NGO member. You just constitute the committee and I will take care of everything. अगर आप ये कर सकते हो free of cost में, they will be more than happy and they will never say no.
We are ready, but they are not ready to accept us.
हाँ, तो उनको follow up करना है. I do it in my local municipal body. I issue them letters every now and then कि constitute करो, constitute करो, constitute करो. So they go on, sending those letters to different departments, GAD and all that, the commissioner and all that comes back. Again मैं reminder भेजता हूँ. Hopefully एक न एक दिन बुलावा आएगा.
ठीक है. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving ahead with next question, Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, sir. Good evening. I have two questions. One is that in a company, generally for the new employees, they have some days where they keep them in hotels or, maybe like in a studio apartment. And that's like third party, if I'm not mistaken. And if something happens over there, like sexual harassment, does it come under the POSH policy of the company itself?
Okay. To answer your question, the answer is if it is paid by your company, then.
Yeah, it is paid. Yeah. Okay. So then
Yes.
it comes under the, okay. And the
Yes.
second thing is, if the NGO is having like, say, community programs where there are volunteers and then there are these outside people who are coming, we are not taking consent forms from everyone for everything. So if between the participants something happens, will that also be considered under POSH?
Yes, because the event is of the organization, volunteers are of the organization, the beneficiaries are of the organization. So the complainant can complain to the POSH.
So participants who
Complain
are
to the
coming,
IC of your organization, yes.
right? So participants who are coming like first time and we don't have any other background of the participant, even they can complain inside the POSH for the company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Even if they come for a few hours, yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Dr. John, for answering these queries. We have two more questions. We'll quickly take those up as well. We have a question from Anusha.
Hi, John sir and Aishwarya, thank you so much. And it was a great session. I have a question. In our organization, we do not have lots of people, like just like 12, 13 people only. And the female employees are very less. So can we have the same people as IC committee every year? Because we don't have somebody who can be considered, like we just have one person for that matter who can be looked at presiding officer. So, and it should be female with like 3 years plus experience. So what would be the scenario in that when we do
How
not
many
have
people
enough
you
people?
said you have 10 people, no?
We have about 15.
15 people. So you can manage 4 out of 15, na? 4 we need 3. One is an external NGO member, so we have to manage 3 people out of there.
But the female employees are not many.
How many females are there? And what is the tenure of job with you?
2 to 3 years.
हाँ तो चलेगा ना, 3 years हो रहा है ना?
So that will be fine.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving ahead with our final question for today's session. Kavita, you can ask your question.
Thank you, John, sir. It was a very informative session. I have read the POSH Act, but that is very generic. आपने वो actual, you gave us the actual implementation के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा. So thank you very much for that. I have these questions. We are an organization of 12 people. We have only 3 women employees. And none of us are more than 3 years old because the organization itself is only 5 years old. And all of us have work from home. So what kind of
So,
IC?
do you not have a head office or any office?
No, none of us ever meet. I mean, we don't meet. No.
So up NGO ho, right?
No, we are a work corporate, but
Company,
we
company,
meet
okay.
only over the team calls that we
On
have
internet.
once a
On the
week. Yeah,
internet.
we have a once a week team call where all 12 of us meet on
Okay.
team call, Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever.
So you meet physically or online?
Online.
Online. तो सब कुछ online हो जाता है.
सब कुछ online हो जाता है. हमको कभी मिलना नहीं होता because we are very dispersed. There are 2 people in Bangalore, 2 people in West Bengal, somebody is in North India.
Understood, yes.
That way. So physically
Okay.
we are very dispersed and distanced.
In this scenario, there are chances of sexual harassment. कौन-कौन से point में हो सकता है? आप खुद ही सोच लीजिए.
नहीं वो
अभी
हो
physical का
सकता
तो
है.
आप waive up कर दीजिए कि वे physically हो नहीं सकता.
वो
Then there may be
communication,
online.
written communication में हो सकता है, phone
Online
calls
हो
पर हो
सकता है
सकता है,
ना?
online हो
जैसे
सकता है. But
मेरे
किस तरह
पीछे
के
सर्टिफिकेट्स देख रहे हो वैसा कुछ फोटोज हो सकती है ना?
तो
So
किस तरह का कमिटीज कंस्टिट्यूट करेगा कि 5 साल पुराना है, कोई भी एम्प्लॉई यहाँ पे 2 साल से पुराना है ही नहीं हमारे पास. There's no
2
women
साल नहीं
employee who's older than 2 years with us. There are only 3 women employees.
है.
So we'll have to put all 3 in the committee then.
All 3 yes with an external NGO member. लेकिन वो मीटिंग कहाँ से लेगा, क्या होगा, कहीं ना कहीं फिजिकली तो होगा क्योंकि मिनट्स बुक वगैरह रखता है.
हाँ, so then we don't meet because as I said, somebody is in Bombay,
तो
somebody is in
आपका
Bangalore,
registered
somebody is
office
in
होगा ना कहीं
Bengal.
पे? You will have some registered office somewhere.
Registered office is the residence of the
Residence ना, हाँ. So that
of
will
the
be considered as
residence.
your HO. उसके
Okay.
अंदर ही आपको POSH का पूरा कमिटी और POSH का correspondence address उसी को यूज करना होगा.
Okay, but we can have
And to
virtual
have a
meeting of the
POSH,
IC.
to have a POSH is very good. Whether there is complaint or not, or you have the work environment आपके online जो है वो. But for your clients, it is very safe कि हमारे पास we are compliant to the Indian law. We are compliant to all this, although we don't work physically. हमारे पास ये सब safety protocols है for the women. So more and more women will feel safer to work with your organization.
Yeah, so we can have all this online. Even the IC meetings can be had online.
IC मीटिंग और रिकॉर्ड रखो. क्या है, कभी भी कुछ भी अगर इंटीमेशन कहीं पे कुछ हो जाता है and the court wants all the evidences, then you have to procure all those evidences.
हाँ, so we can have a recording of the meetings that we do. We have an official
रिकॉर्ड करके उसको सेव करके रख दो कहीं पे क्लाउड में, कहीं पे जहाँ से हैक ना हो.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kavita. Okay, now we have one last question from Priscilla. Priscilla, you can go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and I would really like to appreciate your beautiful presentation and the need of the hour. Just one question to you, sir. One is the annual report filing. Can you just send any link or anything that we can use this annual report into our own organization's filing? And the second is a second question to you is what is the retainer? Do the external members have a retainer fee every month?
What do you mean by retainer?
Yeah, like every month, if there is an external member to the in the IC, they would be paid a small amount apart from their transportation or anything that they do.
Okay, so the first question is about annual report. That is you do annual report का जो formula है, format है, that is already in the act. If you go to the last pages of the act, around 28-29 sections, chapters में वहाँ पे वो है. Nevertheless, I will share a format with organizer, है ना, connect for you. then she may transfer it to you. All right, then uske baad mein regarding the retainer fee, see, you need an external NGO member for 3 years, है ना?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you need person to attend the meetings, the quarterly meetings every 3 months, and cases hoga to 90 days ke liye they have to come and go. Most of the external NGO members, they take as a package. Like if they are only coming for attending the hearings, they are not contributing through lectures or capacity building sessions or anything, then usko to 200 rupees per day ke hisab se dena padta hai. 200 rupees per day plus the conveyance charges. Or if you are sending the vehicle, that's okay. Okay. But if that external NGO member is expert enough to also guide you the entire process, sab training deta hai, sab kuch karta hai, then the market rates of such consultants prevail. जो maybe 50,000 annually रहता है उनका या 1 lakh, it depends on the capacity of the external NGO member. I have seen people charging 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh just for one session, 1 hour. Okay. So itne mein to advocate ban jaoge.
Okay, just thank you, Dr. John,
so
for your
200 per day के हिसाब से ठीक है ना? That is as per the law, and if you want to pay extra, that is your take.
And I didn't get you, sir. What is it, sir? The last statement that you've made?
If you 200 rupees per day is a prescribed fees for attending the cases.
Okay,
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 for
sir.
the external NGO member, and if you are generous enough, you can pay more, no issues.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, another
Whatever you share with Priscilla, would you please share in the WhatsApp group so that we all can look at it about the annual reporting, please?
Sure, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. John, you
another
can post
last
it on the
question.
NGO WhatsApp group, and you can send it to me as well. So if
I'll send it to you, so you can do the needful.
Yes, sure, I'll do that.
Last question to you, sir. The training is for once in 3 months for the newly recruited staff or for the same old staff, sir?
No. The staff training should be once in a year.
Okay,
once in a year is sufficient, just for the formality of the annual report. And also the staff comprising of the new, old, everyone should be familiar कि उसका training अलग रहता है कि these are considered as the sexual harassment, and if you find something like this, then you can complain to the IC. That's it. आधे घंटे का ही enough है. Okay.
And this training has to be done in person or through Zoom, sir?
In person is better. In person is better.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And for the IC team, the trainings has to be technical in nature, because कैसे papers देने हैं, कितने copies of complaints देना है, कौन सा complaint किसको देना है, natural justice क्या होता है, because when we are passing judgments at the end of the inquiry period, we have to practice natural justice also. So what are the ingredients of natural justice? ये सब technical sessions होते हैं. You have to provide those sessions to the IC team so that they can adjudicate the matter very efficiently.
Okay. Sir, another thing, if they are working from home and they have issues online, like sending emails and other things to the co-workers, we will also consider it under the Sexual Harassment Act, right?
If those emails has the ingredient of sexuality in nature, then
okay, okay, sir.
उसमें sexually colored कुछ होना है, even if there is a color or overtone or anything that is sexual in nature, then those complaints, those emails or those correspondence are considered under the POSH Act.
Okay. Sir, I just have, because I'm doing the ICC training, the POSH training for a lot of companies, I just want the last question. Sir, there are organizations which have only men and one female. In that case, what will be the training and the formation of the ICC?
If it is above 10, then IC is necessary.
But all are men, sir. Only one
female
woman is. Yeah, one woman is there.
They are on the payroll. There will be females coming into the organization as a guest or as a vendor or as a client.
Yes, they will also be under that. Okay,
there will be daily wages coming in. Those could be Adivasis, and they would be female.
the ICC members, one external member is a woman, and then only one woman will be there. Majority women will not be there because only one person is women is there from the office side. So how the ICC can be formed?
IC has to be, the presiding officer of the IC has to be a woman.
Yes, yes.
So if you have a woman in the company, then that has to be there. Or else, if there is any branch, you can take the woman from those branch and also club it together.
Okay, sir.
Or agar if the company has 10 different branch in 10 different locations, then all those 10 different locations will have 10 different ICs. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your time and the beautiful explanation of all my doubts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. I think with this, we are ending our today's webinar. I would personally like to thank Dr. John for this wonderful session. I know we have discovered so many new things, and with that we have resolved so many queries as well. So thank you so much for your time and commitment, ConnectFor. Really appreciate that. With that, I would like to thank all the participants for coming for today's webinar. We constantly look for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in our future webinar. Thank you so much, Dr. John, and thank you all the participants.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.